I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and today is the 2nd of December, so open that second advent calendar window and enjoy the delicious chocolate inside, or if your parents don't love you that much, enjoy the clip art of a robin or a candle or something. I'm actually considering banning advent calendars here in the Cultaholic offices. Yeah, their days are numbered. Today we have news on the rescheduling of two major WWE events over WrestleMania weekend because everybody loves a bit of admin. We have news from Kurt Angle, who has revealed who he would like to wrestle in his retirement match with the WWE. And finally, I'm going to reveal who wrote the majority of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Think back to this week's episode of Raw. Who could that be? So let's kick things off with that WrestleMania weekend news. WWE have announced that the Hall of Fame is swapping places with NXT TakeOver, meaning that NXT TakeOver will now happen on Friday evening and the Hall of Fame will happen on Saturday evening. In a statement by WWE, they said WWE will be going back to its previous WrestleMania week schedule with NXT TakeOver on Friday, April 5th and the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Saturday, April 6th. We believe this better serves our fans. This change could be beneficial for a number of reasons, but I guess the most obvious to wrestling fans is that NXT will no longer be going head-to-head with New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor. The G1 Supercard is of course taking place on April the 6th, and no longer will fans have to decide whether they want to see live NXT or Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Next up, we've got news from Kurt Angle himself, who recently revealed in a Facebook Q&A who he would like to face in his last match with the WWE. And it's not just one name. So Angle said the following: AJ Styles or Samoa Joe, or Seth Rollins or Daniel Bryan. Then you have Sheamus and Cesaro, Baron Corbin, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. I'd have to go with either Rollins or Bryan, only because I've never wrestled them and I've had my eye on them for 5 years. So that doesn't make things much clearer. Sorry. I think we'd all agree that Angle listed a whole heap of dream matches there, the most obvious of course being a father versus son encounter, Angle versus Jordan, finally, or a one-on-one ladder match versus Chad Gable for the custody of Jason Jordan. I'm available for hire, WWE. Get in touch. And finally, Dave Meltzer has revealed who wrote the majority of this week's, let's face it, awful episode of Monday Night Raw, and that man is none other than Vince McMahon himself. Dave Meltzer mentioned that Vince got restless and decided to write much of the show himself. So if you were wondering why Dean Ambrose went from these badass backstage promos to getting his bum out in a doctor's office, now you know. Don't get me wrong, Raw hasn't been on top form for a fair few months now, but this week's episode did feel especially bad. We saw Dolph versus Seth for the billionth time, Jinder Mahal versus No Way Jose for some reason, and more piss-based antics from Drake Maverick. Lovely. Jack will be back with all of the wrestling news from tomorrow, and I've managed to go 2 whole days without making a single zoo-based joke. Go me! He is actually at the zoo. He messaged me this picture earlier, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's a baguette in a cage at Newcastle Zoo. He did ask the zookeeper about it, and the zookeeper told him that it was bred in captivity. So that's all from me, thanks for watching, and you can follow me on Twitter here. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon, that's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.